Picture this: a packed federal courtroom, cameras flashing, tension thick enough to cut with a knife. And then it happens. A federal judge, appointed by Donald Trump himself, looks directly at the administration's legal team and says their arguments are completely untethered to reality. Let that sink in. Not a liberal judge, not a Biden pick, a Trump appointee, calling the president's case false, misleading, and legally baseless. The moment went viral overnight. The White House scrambled. Social media exploded. Even conservative analysts couldn't spin it. This wasn't just a loss, it was a public humiliation. But here's what's being missed in all the headlines. This wasn't about paperwork or politics. It was about power. The question at the heart of this case: can the president deploy military force inside the U.S. without a state's permission just because he says there's an emergency? Here's what happened. The Trump administration wanted to send National Guard troops from California and Texas into Portland, Oregon, claiming the city was spiraling into chaos. But legally, the National Guard answers to governors, not the White House. Federal deployment only applies under extreme conditions: invasion, rebellion, or a true insurrection. None of that existed. So Trump's lawyers tried a different angle: that the president's inherent executive authority gave him the power to protect federal interests anywhere in the country. It was a stretch, and the judge knew it. She pressed them for evidence of an emergency. They had none. She asked for legal precedent. They cited unrelated cases. And finally, she said it out loud: "Your arguments are untethered to reality." That's courtroom language for "you're making things up." Trump's team panicked, accused her of bias, even demanded a mistrial, which she denied on the spot. And when the ruling came, it hit like a bomb. The president cannot unilaterally deploy troops across state lines without constitutional authority. It was a clear rebuke, not just of this specific order, but of a broader pattern that's defined Trump's second term, pushing executive power to its breaking point. For years, the administration's playbook has been simple: test the limits, break the norms, expand presidential authority wherever possible. And for a while, it worked. Executive orders flew, agencies bent. But now, Trump's own judges are pushing back. This wasn't an isolated case. Another Trump appointee recently blocked an immigration directive. A third overturned an environmental rollback. The very judges Trump handpicked to secure his agenda are the same ones drawing the line, saying, "No, this isn't what the Constitution allows." That's not betrayal. That's the system working. So what does this mean? Let's break it down. Point 1. The Portland case wasn't about riots or crime. It was about control. If Trump had won, it would have set a precedent allowing any president to send military forces into any state, at any time, simply by declaring an emergency. That's not law and order. That's unchecked power. Point 2. This ruling came from a Trump-appointed judge, a fact that changes everything. It's one thing for a liberal court to block a Republican president. It's another for one of his own picks to publicly say his team misled the court. That's devastating for credibility. Point 3. This moment exposes a deeper flaw in Trump's legal strategy, assuming loyalty over law. He believed appointing judges meant owning them. But the Constitution doesn't work like that. Judges swear an oath to the law, not to the man who nominated them. And when the law is clear, even loyalists can't bend it without breaking everything. Now, politically, this couldn't come at a worse time. Trump's party is running on the same law and order message: strength, leadership, authority. But how do you campaign on law and order when your own judges say your legal arguments are detached from reality? Even conservative outlets are calling this a major embarrassment. Legal analysts describe it as a constitutional faceplant, and the clips of that judge dismantling Trump's lawyers are everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, news broadcasts. It's become a cultural moment, a judge standing up to presidential power and saying, "Enough." The White House has already filed an appeal, but the legal reasoning in this case is solid. To overturn it, higher courts would have to declare that the president's power has no real limits during emergencies, a dangerous precedent that could haunt any administration, left or right. Because once you give one president unchecked authority, you give it to all presidents. And that's the irony here. By trying to expand his own power, Trump might have triggered the exact opposite, a legal reaffirmation of the limits that define American democracy. For at least one day, in one courtroom, the system worked. A judge, Trump's own judge, said no. No to overreach. No to false evidence. No to bending the Constitution for political gain. And in this moment, that single word, no, might be the most powerful word in American politics. Stay tuned, because this isn't over. The appeal is coming. The fight for executive power is far from finished. But make no mistake, a line's been drawn. And even in Trump's America, not every judge is willing to cross it.